Hi, this video will showcase how to send response to a chatbot for ServiceNow List Incidents request. We want to request for the incident list on a chat. In an earlier video, I showed how to fetch a requester's ServiceNow incidents. Now, assuming that a chatbot is configured to trigger AE workflows based on the utterances or conversations, we want to send the incident list response to the chatbot. We will create a workflow to send a response to the chatbot. We will then club the get incident list and send responses workflow in a parent process. Let us begin. I'm in Process Studio. I have created a project ServiceNow, a process ServiceNow incident list response to chatbot, and a workflow send response to chatbot. I have also copied the list ServiceNow incidents from an earlier video. In this video, we will build the process and the send response to chatbot workflows. So let us start with the process. This process will in turn call the two workflows to fetch the ServiceNow incidents and send the response to chatbot respectively. Let us begin the process. First of all, drag and drop a start entry. Drag a first workflow executor entry for the list ServiceNow incidents workflow and a second one to call the send response to chatbot, and end the process with a success entry. Let us configure the first workflow executor step. Let us call it list ServiceNow incidents. Let us browse the first workflow file, that is list ServiceNow incidents, which is in the internal entry current directory. In the logging settings, we will specify a log file. We'll keep appending to the log file. We will create the log file in the current workflow directory. So I can specify list incident logs. Create a parent folder if it is not present. In our case, there is no parent folder. Include the extension txt. We will include the date and the log level. We will keep it to basic. Click OK. Now let us go to the second workflow executor step. Let us call it send response to chatbot. Let us browse the file, which is again in the same workflow directory. Let us go to the logging settings. Specify a log file. We will keep appending. And the name of the log file, we will use the same log file that we defined in the earlier step. Create a parent folder. Extension is again txt. We will include the date and keep the log level to basic. Click OK. Let us define the process parameters. Go to the parameters tab. We will define a parameter additional info and a parameter chatbot endpoint of the type string, and they are both runtime. The additional info parameter is sent from the chatbot to the workflow, and it contains information so that the workflow can send the response back to the chatbot. And the chatbot endpoint is used to communicate to the chatbot, whereas the additional info contains additional information to log into the user in the chatbot. Click OK. Save your process, and this completes the building of the process. I can even close my process now. Now let us build the workflow to send the response to the chatbot. Let us begin the workflow with the generate row step. Let us configure it. Let us define fields where the values are coming from the process or from the variables defined in the list ServiceNow incidents workflow. Chatbot endpoint, success message, AE status, error message, ServiceNow list details, additional info. Type is string. The AE status is true or false, that is a boolean, and the other fields are also string. In the value, let us enter the corresponding variable value, the variable success message, AE status, error message, snow list details, and additional info. Click OK. Next, let us drag and drop a modified JavaScript step. We will write a script to create a JSON body for the response. In the JSON, define variables for the JSON body, the workflow execution result message, the workflow status such as complete, diverted, failure, etc., and the AE status, true or false. In the for loop, write a condition for the success message, for the error message, and otherwise. In the success message, capture the message, the status is complete and the AE status is true. And in the JSON body, we will capture the additional info, the status, and the output of the ServiceNow list details workflow. In case of error, there is a predefined error message, and we will also capture the other details, and so on. Click the Get Variables. So this JavaScript step returns the JSON body, the message, the status, and the AE status. Click OK. Next, drag and drop a write to log to capture the JSON body. Write a header, the JSON body before sending reply to endpoint. In the field, we will capture the JSON body. Click OK. Next, drag and drop an advanced REST client step. We will configure it to post the response to the chatbot endpoint. Let us configure it. It is a post method, and we will get the URL from the field, that is the chatbot endpoint. Provide a header key, that is content type is application JSON. In the request body, get the JSON body, and in the HTTP response, we will provide a different response body field name, that is update chatbot result. Click OK. Drag and drop two set workflow result steps. Connect one of them as the error handling step. Let us configure the first one. Call it success message. Success is true or false. Select AE status. Status is complete failure or diverted. Select status. Select a message, that is AE message. In the attribute 1, select update chatbot result. Click OK. For error handling, right-click on the advanced REST client step. Click error handling. In the error descriptions field name, provide update chatbot error. Click OK. Now let us configure the error handling set workflow result. Call it failure message. Success is true or false. Select the AE status. Status is complete failure or diverted. Select status. In the message, select AE message. And in the output parameters, let us define chatbot status. And in the value, provide the value of the error description that we defined in the error handling. Click OK. Drag and drop two write to log steps. Connect one to the success message and the other to the failure message. Let us configure the first one. Let's call it after response. Let's give it a header, that is successful end of execution. Click Get Fields. Retain the required fields to log. Click OK. Similarly, let's configure the second write to log. Call it error response. Give it a header in the log, that is error while sending response to chatbot. Click Get Fields. Retain the fields you want to. Click OK. Save your workflow. This completes the send response to chatbot workflow. Thus, we completed the process which calls the list ServiceNow incidents and send response to chatbot. The list ServiceNow incidents workflow was demonstrated in the earlier video. You can check that video for more details. And we created the send response to chatbot workflow in this video. Now, to test it, we'll have to go to the chatbot and request for the list of incidents, which will trigger this process and in turn call the list ServiceNow incidents and also send a response back to chatbot with the incident details. I'm on AutomationEdge UI. I have published our process as ServiceNow List Incidents on the AutomationEdge instance. So let us go to the chatbot. I'm in the chatbot. AutomationEdge AI Studio offers an enhanced chatbot known as Cognibot, which is linked to a natural language understanding tool, and the chatbot web service is configured with dialogues. Now, our workflow was for listing ServiceNow tickets. So let me type an utterance or a dialogue for it. All my ticket. Now, when I type my utterance, I'm expecting it'll trigger the workflow that I created. So let me check on my AutomationEdge instance if the workflow has started. So as you can see, ServiceNow List Incidents workflow execution started, and it has returned all the tickets in a carousel. So you can scroll through the tickets and the workflow is complete in the background. So we saw how our workflow in the background was able to send the response back to the chatbot. We saw how to create a workflow to send response to a chatbot for the ServiceNow incidents list request. Thank you for watching.